First time we've opened the show saying there's really nothing happening. Anyway, welcome everybody. Glad to have you. I'm Neil Cavuto. And you are looking live at not a darn thing going on. Not even the slightest hint of doom. Flights on time at the nation's busiest airports. Despite talk just last week, it would be bedlam at pretty much all our nation's airports. Eerily, business as usual outside New York City's famed Avenue of the Americas, where it seems Americans are just ambling by. No telltale signs of mental patients running through the streets because they can't get their meds. There might be mental patients ambling through the streets, but apparently they have their meds. And outside this McDonald's, no customers puking because they just discovered that Big Mac they wolfed down was, in fact, Mr. Ed. Schools still open. Teachers still teaching. Kids still playing. The business of America still proceeding. Far from the terror predicted last week, we are watching this odd, kooky, crazy calm this week. Gene Sperling, he, of course, of threatening email fame, already dialing the doom back and saying that these cuts more a slow and grinding game. We're not so sure because last week it was no game, and suddenly this week no problem. So today, a question. What's the White House really grinding out? What if we told you today something far simpler? The facts, the truth. To Michelle Malkin, who says, beware those who keep crying wolf. They'll only leave you howling. Well, Michelle, I've looked everywhere I can, and again, I don't want to get ahead of myself. You know, horror could follow, but so far, no horror today. What do you make of this?
That's right. No cannibalism epidemic, no zombies flying around. The janitors are getting paid in D.C. Teachers are teaching, as you mentioned. Trains and planes are running on schedule or behind schedule, as usual. Not anything different before sequestration as after. And really, what we need from this White House is a national bulletin of Obama as Emily Litella, with the little glasses. You remember Gilda Radner from Saturday Night Live?
You're too young to remember that.
Never.
No.
I am not.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Well, you know, I mean, they've done this before, and I know, look, I know each side always has its agenda, and it'll try to put the fear into you if you don't see its agenda realized. But, I mean, you had to realize both the size of the cuts we were talking about in a $3.8 trillion budget. It would be hard-pressed to generate the type of reaction that they foresaw. Having said that, they're warning that, all right, it might not come immediately, but it will come. So they're covered either way.
Yeah, and I think that's what I worry about, because although it's worth a giggle snort today that all of the doom and gloom hasn't come as predicted, you wonder what this administration is capable of when it comes to cooking up the manufactured crisis that didn't appear as they had warned last week. I mean, we already have an administration that was willing to release untold thousands of illegal aliens, despite whatever other criminal backgrounds they may have had. And we had Janet Napolitano warning today about supposed doom and gloom coming from the airlines. So I wonder what kind of theatrics we have in store for us because they have lost so much face, what they might do. And it's sort of a victory in a way for the Republicans because they did not cave in this instance, and hopefully it will act as a deterrent for the next time we have this round of sequester apocalypse-geddon. But it's such an
you can't really call that sequester-geddon, could you? You can't really go. Well, you know, we do know one thing, that after the fact, we begin to piece together more of the truth. The administration, which up until really late last week was saying this was all on Republicans, they created this debacle, admitted that, in fact, sequestration, the whole concept, started at the White House. But to turn it around and to say that it really needn't matter, I want you to listen to two very prominent officials commenting on just this from the White House. Look at this.
Yes, we put forward the design of how to do that, but David...
Which was the sequester.
But David, the right issue
Which was the sequester.
But the right answer is that we all did agree to this.
Does anyone here at the White House regret the fact
that people inside this White House came up with this idea in the first place?
Well, Senators Graham and Rudman came up with the idea. The fact that it's called that was because that's what it was called back in the 1980s under the deficit reduction package known as Graham-Rudman-Hollings that President Reagan signed. This is all pretty irrelevant.
Well, it was not irrelevant when they were, going on and on about it and all the hell to pay. So, look, I'm not here to parcel through everything that was discussed last week by anybody, but last week at this time, I know we were preparing for the end of the world. It might still, materialize, Michelle, but so far no evidence of it.
That's right. And I think it is not unfair, and I think it's perfectly within bounds to rub it in their chicken little faces for at least a day before they continue on their business.
But I think people should be warned the next time someone forecasts the end of the world based on cuts that you and I know amount to, as I've said so many times on this show, Michelle, a rounding error on a rounding error, and I'll add on a rounding error. We should at least remind them of two things: math and the truth.
Math and the truth, and hopefully that formula will prevail eventually. And I think in the meantime, though, this apocalypse equation and the business as usual that's gone on for decades has to stop. And I think it really is, as I said last time, and I continue to repeat to the Republican Party, although they have a short-term political victory here, they still have a lot of work to do to educate people about these fiscal realities.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. We never said it was going to be a problem at all. That's a ticket. All right, Michelle Malkin, thank you very much.